welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts I've ever seen.
And this episode we're doing 1993's Dave. Man, this is such a weird movie.
I know. And it's really weird, but I love it so much.
No, it's really good. It's just weird. And like, thank goodness they got Kevin Kline, because his charm carries this movie a long way.
I think it could have ended up being like a really dark movie.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it could have been like too dark and sad if he wasn't so charming. Mm-hmm. But then he also can like flip it. Like, he was also able to very briefly play
he's very evil.
The other side. Yeah. If you haven't seen Dave, it's great. It's Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver and like a massive cast of like random people. Charles Grodin's in it. Oh, he's so good. Ben Kingsley.
Oh, it's so adorable.
Oh, who's the guy that plays the chief of staff?
Frank Langella.
Oh, Frank Langella. Yeah. Who's so perfectly evil.
Yeah.
Anna Devere Smith of White House and The American President fame.
Like
Bonnie
the
Hunt.
only trifecta. Bonnie Hunt.
Yeah.
We say that phrase constantly in my house. I don't know why. She's in it for like 3 seconds, but we're all like, we're walking, we're stopping.
And we're stopping. Because it's such a memorable scene. It's very random.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Laura Linney's in it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ving Rhames. Like, so many people. It's absolutely crazy.
If you haven't seen it, it's really weird.
Yes.
The president hires body doubles, which apparently was sometimes a thing, for security reasons, but also because he wants to stoop Laura Linney.
Yeah.
But there's this guy, Dave, who lives in Washington and looks exactly like the president, and nobody's noticed yet.
Well, they have noticed because he isn't a president. Like, he does impersonations for like car dealerships.
Yeah, like they've noticed, but I don't know. Everyone's like, is that, you kind of look like him, which I know they're trying to say because it's one person playing two roles, but I feel like this would be more of a thing. It's very much like Parent Trap, where they're like, do you think we're related?
Yeah. No, you look exactly the same. And like, they give him like what he portrays as like a massive haircut, and it's like maximum an inch of hair is taken off anywhere on his head. Like, yeah, it goes from sort of a floppy, he like runs a temp agency, to a presidential haircut, but it's like, it's not that drastic. Like,
no, it's really not. Yeah, so then he goes
better
to
glasses.
Be the double, but while the president is with Laura Linney, he has a massive stroke, and so then because Frank Langella is evil and wants to become president, they decide to just keep Dave there, but then he saves the day and gets the girl.
Yeah. Basically, they're like, oh, we'll just have Dave and he'll just be a puppet, and we'll force the vice president to resign and then kill off the president, and then oops, it'll be the chief of staff, basically. Yeah. It's so much fraud, so evil, and it's kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because the thing, I mean, Frank Langella says the thing that evil people don't say out loud. Like, he speaks his true feelings in like not private about like poor people and the role of government and ethics,
power, all the things.
Mm-hmm. And then Sigourney Weaver and the original president, not Dave, are like very estranged, like are only still married because of politics. And so then she like falls back in love with who she pretty early on realizes is not her husband, or like I think at first she's like hopeful that maybe he's like had a big change of heart, but and then they fall for each other, and it's like a maybe happily ever after, but we'll get to the end later, as we always do. Okay, so heads up that all of our like politicsy knowledge basically comes from The West Wing. Because we are Canadian, and I learned a little bit about US politics, but like 25 years ago, and it was about like the American Revolution, and that was about it.
And it's like, we don't know a lot about Canadian politics either. We're biologists.
Yeah, I mean, Canadian politics is so different. Like,
Yes.
there couldn't really be this situation because no one person has the like presidential level of power in Canada. So
It's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, but like,
yeah.
Yeah,
we're not political nerds, other than
we're not.
the spectating.
As
of-
aforementioned, West Wing.
yes, exactly.
Yes, and Justin McElroy,
Indeed,
the Canadian one.
the Canadian local political reporter.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. Yeah. There's lots of hand waving about all the politics of things, but I think
Yeah.
the big one is like they somehow convince the vice president to go to India for a month.
Africa.
Africa for a month,
Generic
sorry.
Africa.
Yeah, generic Africa. Well, he brings back things from like actual specific countries, so that's good. So yeah, he
Yes.
goes on tour of Africa for a month, which
Yeah, they're like, it's fine. Go on this trip that we just made up. It's not like
Yeah.
a long-standing trip that's already been planned or like he's already there or anything. And they're like, it's fine. The president had a stroke, but he'll be fine in a couple of days. And I'm like, no.
also like vice presidents have booked schedules. They can't
Yes.
just go to Africa for a month.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many
And-
things of like Secret Service-ness of what happens with vice presidents. Like we all saw in The Shadow of Two Gunmen.
yeah.
And also the line of succession.
Yes.
Like the Frank Langella's plan is to get the vice president fired for incompetence and then get Dave to nominate him as a vice president, which would work in order for him to become president. But in the meantime, there's like a million other people in line to become president that
And, like,
are not him.
As we know from the West Wing, nominating a vice president can take a really long time.
Really long
and-
time.
Yeah. And also, like, impeaching a vice president could take a long time. Like, if he doesn't agree to resign. Like, it's a... Frank Langella plays a good manipulator, but it's not a very well-written
good plan.
manipulation. No, it's really not a good plan. Yeah. And so much fraud. And, yeah, he's just, like, too evil.
He's too evil. Like he has no reason to be evil except that he's in politics and that also that Bill Mitchell, the actual president, is also evil. So like that's where it comes from. Like it makes no sense.
No, for sure. But he's like, even before the whole Dave thing, like he wanted to, I think, have the same thing happen. Like, you know, it's not like, I think he would have had some sort of machinations happening already to be able to somehow become president. But it's like, why didn't he, instead of helping Bill Mitchell run for president, why didn't
Just
he
run for president? Yeah.
Probably because he's too evil and wouldn't have gotten elected.
Wouldn't have gotten elected. Yeah, so there's that, and then there's all of this, the fraud of what they do with Dave, which is like just insane amounts of fraud. And also like this thing that it's always bothered me about this movie is that Dave would also go to jail if this was found out.
Yeah.
He committed a lot of fraud.
Yeah. Yeah. And just because he did it like with good intentions.
Yeah, does not mean anything. He did
Yeah.
a lot of things. He messed up millions of people's lives with this budget thing that we'll get.
Oh my God. Yeah. But I mean, I guess the only thing would be he probably would be able to, if he got a good lawyer, be able to make a plea deal to like turn on the people who, you know, he didn't know he was conspiring with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
so like, then it also comes out that they also did a bunch of evil things with the original president beforehand. So they're just really evil, bad people.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
I'm like, it seems like it's a lot. And I don't know why Dave trusts them. And it's just, it's a little bit.
Well, I mean, Dave has the like middle-aged straight white man in a
True.
privileged position of like not having any reason to not trust
Do
the
not
government.
trust people? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, but then he decides that he's going to bring in his buddy who works for like a small business accounting firm to help him just whimsically rewrite and cut the budget. Like, no, budgets have to get passed through elected people.
Yep. And like all of these things where he's like, you have $47 million to do this ad campaign, which like they picked a random thing, which yes, it sounds very silly, but there's definitely a reason for it. And also that's already happening. Like the budget didn't get passed that day. And then he's like, let's change it. That's not.
Yeah, like we don't know where they are in the budget cycle, but it's not like, it's not a living document. It's a one-off thing.
Yeah. Like that's already, everything that he's taking away is already,
it's already allocated.
rolling. It's already been going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just all of that stuff of like cut all this
Yeah.
stuff, and he's like, we'll just put it in a bank. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they have a interest.
And
Like-
if the government could get away with not paying the contractors, it would be in the contract,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like, you
Yeah,
can't just decide to not pay people.
exactly, like, just because they're late, you're gonna have to pay them eventually if they do their job, and then where's that
Yeah.
money coming from? There's just
Yeah.
so many things. I'm watching it, and I'm like, but at the end, it's so motivating, and you're like, he did it. And it's,
Yeah. Well, I mean, as we know, he's good at getting people jobs and not so good at accounting.
True. He's
Yeah,
also
but then-
incredibly charming and
So
attractive in this
charming.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, so attractive. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, sort of like this undercurrent through the whole thing is like him and the first lady like having amazing chemistry and like starting to kind of, well, like for him, he's like, I don't think I'm supposed to fall for you.
No.
And for her, she's like, where's my husband and who
Yep.
are you? But also, you're very attractive and I'm confused. Yeah, it's really good. Also, Sigourney Weaver's got amazing short hair, which is fantastic because, yeah, she'd like pretty recently finished filming Aliens where she'd had her head shaved. So,
Yeah.
yep. I'm glad they didn't give her away because I think her hair looks amazing. It's very 1993, like power suit.
Yeah, her
hairdo.
entire stuff is amazing. She did her own personal wardrobe.
Oh, yeah, she looks amazing.
Yeah, she looks fantastic. But she's Sigourney Weaver, of course she does.
Of course she does. Yeah, and then really the only other significant female character we have is Laura Linney's character who plays an assistant to the president who's having sex with him when he has his massive stroke. And she, I mean, it's not a leap to say like she's in this and then she gets her role in Love Actually and they're like not that different, very like
Passive.
swoony,
Yeah.
characterless. Yeah, basically lampshades, except that a lampshade that's a sex toy.
Yeah. And again, they talk about paying her off or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she gets to go back and work not only
I
at the
know,
White
there's-
House, but right outside the Oval Office. Like, it's
There's
just...
no way she would have been allowed to keep working.
Yeah. Well, like, they would have moved her at least to, like, OEOB or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so weird.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like she's playing it like she's super in love with the president. It's like, oh boy. Yeah. And the other thing that I saw in the trivia, but then remembered actually from,
West
I think, from like high school history class, because we learned about like the League of Nations and all that kind of stuff. So it's funny, and I'm sure not an accident that they did it as a stroke, because in 1919, Woodrow Wilson, president, had a stroke. And then because it was before the 25th Amendment had been ratified, they just kept it a secret, and his wife ran the executive office,
Yeah.
which is sketchy for like 2 years or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 1919, it's a very chill time in the world. Yeah, everything's fine.
Super chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
No like major international crises that they're trying
Yep.
to resolve. Not at
Nope.
all. Nope.
Anyway, I have
Yeah.
very mixed feelings about this movie, and that's my story.
Yeah, but then at the end, Dave like decides that he wants to help people and decides to run for city council, and then Sigourney Weaver shows up to be there too,
Yeah.
and they make out.
Because the president dies and she's a widow now. So it's
Yes,
fine.
yeah. The president dies in the interim. Yeah,
Don't worry.
There's sort of a time jump.
This movie is full of fraud, but there's no extramarital affairs from the protagonists. Everything's
Correct. Well, because she's the first lady and she can't. Right. He can though. Okay, tropes.
Yeah. So the biggest one that I pulled out was sleazy husband who sucks and then conveniently dies so that
Oh,
she
so convenient.
can get with the protagonist. Hooray!
Yes.
But yeah, he's sleazy and
Yeah,
evil, and also abuses his power by sleeping with his assistant. And
indeed.
yeah,
And like is committing massive like election fraud or who knows
Yeah.
what kind of fraud. Okay, next one I'm gonna bring up is we have a main character with a heart of gold. Like Dave is just the
Yeah.
perennial optimist. Like, you know, he has all the power of the presidency, and all he wants to do is make sure that everybody gets a job. Like,
yeah,
it's great.
it is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that goes with my
Yeah.
note, which I wrote at the beginning was, is he a bit of a manic pixie? But I think like he's not. I don't, because main characters can't be manic pixie because they have to
No.
have background because otherwise movies don't work. But I think they just go really overboard with the beginning because they're showcasing
Yes.
both
Yeah.
roles. And
Yeah, they're trying to make sure we know they're
make sure
very
we
different.
know that they're very different. So he's like whistling all the time and he's singing and he's like playing baseball with the kids on the street, and he rides a bicycle, and like
so quirky and like
he's so quirky and
homegrown, and
he loves everybody, and it's so great, which is fine. Like I have nothing against any of this, but yeah, they definitely go a little bit.
Yeah, if this had been Sigourney Weaver's movie, he would be a manic pixie.
Yes, yeah.
But because he's the main character, so we learn way more about him other than just that he's quirky.
Yeah,
and then we've got one actor playing twins, a la Parent Trap, and so many things. Okay. Lindsay, does this movie pass the Bechdel test?
No.
not even a glimmer in its eye. No.
There's like the only interaction of two female characters is like at the temp agency.
Yeah.
And that's like just background characters.
Yeah, like the multiple like White House assistants in front of the Oval Office.
Yeah, just standing together being secretaries.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. I mean, Sigourney Weaver, the First Lady, and then I'm assuming the assistant Laura Linney's character has a name, but it's not memorable. Yeah.
Yeah, evil guy just calls Laura Linney her. What about her?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's her and the First Lady, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we make a pie about this very strange movie?
Yeah. Yeah, so sexual tension and longing looks are prevalent because, again, they can't act on their feelings, even though they both know that they're not who they say they are, or you know what I mean. Yeah,
like, he knows that, but, like, from his perspective, she's married to a dying guy.
Yeah.
And from her perspective, he's either her husband that she hates, or what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is this person
it's
in my
very
house?
Confusing, but there's a lot of attraction.
But lots of attraction, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like that's, like, the main part of the rom-comness of this movie. Like,
I agree.
55?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we didn't really go into her because she's not actually in this movie as much as I remember her being. It's really Kevin Kline focused, which I'm not mad about because he's amazing in this. But Sigourney rules. And
she does.
As we always say. And she's awesome in this. She looks amazing. She pulls it off. She sings at one point. She's great. Love it.
Oh my God. That singing scene. Oh, how did we forget mentioning that? That's the best part of the movie. They sing it for a moment and it's amazing. I think we should give Sigourney like 25%.
Yes.
25%. Okay. Evil politicians. Oh my God. They're so evil and there's so many of them.
Evil.
No, we can't do 20. 15.
15. Yep.
Yeah.
There's the other 15%. Thing about, speaking of like Sigourney and Bechdel test and women, is that there isn't a lot, like the cast is amazing and it's all name cast and then like a sprinkling of extras and then like 50% cameos of real people in 1993. Like Ben Stein is in this movie. All of the politicians that are interviewed are real politicians. Even the interview Talking Heads TV show, like that's a real TV show. And I'm like, just make up your own. Why did you go through all of this effort? It seems weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's definitely a thing that like would never happen again.
Yeah, so it's just like that's what the cast is.
Yeah, the cast is mostly cameos plus like 15 people. Yeah. And then we've got 5% left for the Oval Office set that at this period of time was used in this, American President, The West Wing,
Pelican Brief.
Oh, it lists so many in the trivia.
And it's also something like super random, like Sinbad goes to Washington or something like really out of left field. But there's a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, Hot Shots Part 2, Clear and Present Danger, like so many random things. Yeah, so we'll give that a solid 5%.
Yeah.
For our pie. Okay. Lindsay, what's next for them?
I don't know. I feel like there's too much to overcome. I really want them to be together, but
same.
Even before I started actually thinking about it, was in the goofs, I think, of like, so your husband dies and you start dating a man who looks exactly like him who's running for office. Yeah. And you're the first lady.
Yeah, like it's not like she's an anonymous person. Like she could make some effort to sort of retain her anonymity, but like even just like her friends and family are gonna be like, you know that guy you're dating? He looks exactly like your husband. Are you okay?
Yeah, like, exactly. And also like that was another thing of goofs of like first ladies, past first ladies continue to have Secret Service. So, like, I don't know how much anonymity she could actually have. And also, if he's running for office in DC, they can't move away if they're going to be together. So, like,
like he's running for
crushing his
council
dreams. Like,
some suburb of DC.
Yeah. So I really want them to be together, and we can headcanon that they just like fly off somewhere.
Yeah, but then
I feel bad, and so I don't know.
So I'm dubious. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I think they have a really great affair.
And I think they'll have a nice affair, and it's nice that she came to support him, and like give it a shot, but it seems unlikely.
Yeah,
maybe they'll like end up in the same retirement home together and like
something,
the old people, like old people together.
Yeah.
And Lindsay, what's next for us in this crazy political month that we decided on?
Oh, well, we are moving away from this Oval Office set, and we're moving away from everything we know about American politics, really. And we'll be watching the much less realistic Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh my God. I'm excited to watch it again.
Me too.
Yeah. It's good times. If you haven't seen it, it's like very charming, but also read the book.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it a lot about how much we enjoy that book.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode. You can rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, and we're at Charts and Hearts on Twitter.
You can also head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes for us to add to the list. And you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub. This month, we're doing Definitely Maybe, which has way more politics in it than I remembered.
Amazing.
But it's mostly election stuff, and so we won't be talking about the 25th Amendment or really anything, really. It's just election background.
Just election-y
Well,
stuff.
life is
amazing.
happening. Yeah, but it's good. Very charming.
And you can always message us, let us know your thoughts on this movie. And in the meantime, sub! I would have taken a bullet for you.
Oh, big
Rames.
Rames!
Being so good.